competitor knows what it takes to be at this level, and I think the ability to kind of score the ball and put the ball in the hole is one of my things, but I'm just not making it in.
Imagine working your entire life for something, putting in the hours, the blood, the sweat, and the tears, only to feel like it's never enough. You're Kelsey Mitchell. You get drafted number 2nd overall in 2018.
I'm here with my dog, my teammate. I'm super hyped to have my girl here. 2-time WNBA All-Star, Kelsey Mitchell. What's good?
You're a walking bucket, averaging over 16 points per game for 6 straight seasons. But no matter how good you are, the team still losing. Year after year, it was the same story, 4 different head coaches, 7 seasons with 0 playoff appearances and no respect or recognition until one moment changed everything. Caitlin Clark arrives in Indiana, the most hyped player in WNBA history. Suddenly, the Fever are selling out arenas. The cameras are everywhere. The entire basketball world is watching. Now here's the million-dollar question. Where does that leave Kelsey Mitchell? Would she finally get the help she needed to win? Or would she get pushed aside as Caitlin Clark took over? And just when things seemed to be turning around, tragedy struck. Kelsey lost her father, her biggest supporter. The pain was overwhelming. She questioned everything. Do I even want to keep playing? Is it worth it? But in her darkest moment, something unexpected happened. Her teammates, including Caitlin Clark, stepped up and became her support system. Somehow, Mitchell played the best basketball of her career, with career-high numbers, back-to-back All-Star appearances, and a playoff run for the first time ever. So, what really happened behind the scenes? How did Caitlin Clark impact Kelsey Mitchell's career? And why did Kelsey turn down other teams to stay in Indiana? Let's break it down. But before we jump into the good stuff, take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. By joining our crew, you'll always be in the loop with the latest WNBA updates, expert takes, and breakdowns of big moves just like this. Don't miss out. We've got every angle covered. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive right in.
Or tell them a little bit about yourself.
Oh, me, I'm a Midwestern girl, born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, 513 kid. It's kind of tough to come out of where I come from.
First off, let's talk about how Kelsey Mitchell even got here. Her journey in the WNBA has been anything but easy. Coming from Cincinnati, Ohio, she was a small-town girl with big dreams and a love for the game that couldn't be ignored. From a young age, she worked relentlessly to sharpen her skills, spending countless hours in the gym, perfecting her shot, and developing a work ethic that set her apart from her peers. That hard work paid off when she became one of the most dominant players in college basketball history at Ohio State. She didn't just play well, she rewrote the record books. Mitchell became the 2nd all-time leading scorer in NCAA Division I women's basketball history. Every game, every season, she showcased her talent, proving she was destined for greatness. Her deep three-pointers, her quick first step, and her ability to take over games made her one of the most dangerous offensive weapons college basketball had ever seen. But despite her undeniable talent, when she entered the WNBA, things didn't go as smoothly as expected.
You and E both been here for a number of years, right?
Yeah.
Y'all done been through the tough years. Well, you really got to grind it out. Tough season.
What, you was 7 years here?
All 7.
For 7 years, she gave Indiana everything she had. The Fever struggled through multiple coaching changes, 4 different head coaches in 7 seasons, and an ever-changing roster that made it difficult to build chemistry. Season after season, Mitchell put up solid numbers, averaging over 16 points per game, proving her consistency as a top-tier scorer. But despite her efforts, the team kept losing. Imagine the frustration putting in the work, showing up night after night and still walking off the court without a win.
Yeah, I think Indy, those from year 1 through 3.5. Well, let me just say this. I went through my 7 years in Indy. I've had 4 head coaches.
Many players in her position would have asked for a trade. They would have looked for an easier path, a team that was already built for success. But not Mitchell. Instead of jumping ship, she embraced the grind. She remained loyal to the franchise that drafted her, choosing to be a cornerstone of a rebuilding team rather than chasing instant success elsewhere. That kind of dedication and patience, it's almost unheard of in today's game, where players switch teams frequently in search of better opportunities. Then came 2023, a year that finally brought some recognition. Mitchell secured her first All-Star nod, a well-deserved validation of her talent and hard work. But even with that personal milestone, the Fever were still at the bottom of the league standings. Another losing season, another year of watching the playoffs from home. At that point, many wondered how much longer would she be willing to wait for the Fever to turn things around. Imagine scoring 20 points a night, leading your team, carrying the offensive load, and still not seeing results in the win column. That's the reality Kelsey Mitchell lived for years. But what makes her story so inspiring? She never let it break her. She never let the disappointment of losing seasons dictate her attitude or effort. She kept showing up, kept leading by example, and kept believing that one day, the struggles would be worth it.
Basketball was just always a safe haven. I kind of took it from there, just, utilized what I knew about it. And that's how I knew what my lifestyle was.
Mitchell didn't just want to be a great individual player. She wanted to be part of a winning culture. She wanted to help build something meaningful in Indiana, to be a key figure in the Fever's resurgence. It would have been easy to walk away, but she chose the harder path. She chose to stay and fight for the franchise that had invested in her. And finally, after years of waiting, things started to shift. Just when it seemed like the Fever were destined to remain stuck in mediocrity, everything changed in 2024. A new face was about to enter the picture, bringing with her the promise of a new era. The Fever were about to draft a player who would not only change the team's fortunes, but also change Kelsey Mitchell's career forever. Let's talk about the moment that altered everything when Caitlin Clark arrived in Indiana. Enter Caitlin Clark, a game changer. In 2024, everything changed. The Indiana Fever made one of the biggest moves in franchise history by drafting Caitlin Clark, the most talked about player in basketball. Almost overnight, the team went from under the radar to being the hottest topic in sports. Suddenly, all eyes were on Indiana. The Fever, who had struggled for years to gain national attention, became must-watch TV. The excitement was real, but so were the questions. How would this affect Kelsey Mitchell? Would she finally get the help she needed? Or would Clark's arrival shift the focus away from her? Some assumed Clark's arrival might overshadow Mitchell. After all, Clark was entering the league with enormous expectations, bringing millions of fans along with her. But rather than being pushed into the background, Mitchell's role expanded in ways no one expected. With defenses keying in on Clark, Mitchell had more freedom to operate, and it showed. She played the most efficient basketball of her career, shooting at career-best percentages from the field and beyond the arc. And for the first time since she was drafted, the Fever started winning. But Clark's influence wasn't just about scoring. Her court vision and passing skills completely changed the team's offensive flow. Instead of carrying the entire scoring load, Mitchell was now getting easier looks, benefiting from Clark's pinpoint assists. It wasn't just about one star making room for another, it was about two elite players elevating each other. Their chemistry clicked instantly, and before long, they became one of the most dynamic backcourts in the WNBA. And let's not forget the impact off the court. Caitlin Clark didn't just bring talent, she brought a movement. Fever games went from half-empty arenas to sellout crowds. The energy was electric. Every game felt like an event, with fans traveling from all over the country just to watch them play. The Fever had gone from being overlooked to becoming the team everyone wanted to see. Instead of being overwhelmed by the newfound attention, Mitchell embraced it. She thrived in the spotlight, using the energy from the fans to fuel her best season yet. What made this duo so exciting was their ability to push each other to new heights. They weren't just two great players coexisting on the court, they were making each other better. Clark's ability to facilitate and create space gave Mitchell the freedom to showcase her elite scoring ability. Mitchell's veteran experience and leadership, in turn, helped Clark transition smoothly into the professional game. It was a partnership built on mutual respect, and the results were undeniable. For the first time in years, the Fever weren't just trying to stay competitive, they were a legitimate threat. The excitement was growing and the wins were piling up. But with all this momentum, one thing was clear: the work wasn't done yet. The Fever had taken a massive step forward, but could they maintain this energy? Could they turn a promising start into a true championship run? That's what we'll explore next. Whoa, you've made it this far. That must mean you're really enjoying the video, right? So why not take a quick second to hit that follow button? It's totally free, super simple, and helps us keep bringing you more awesome content, especially if you love the WNBA. Whether it's game highlights, player spotlights, or behind-the-scenes moments, we've got you covered. Plus, by following, you'll never miss a beat when it comes to your favorite teams and players. Go on, tap that follow now. All right, let's jump back in. Now here's where the story takes an emotional turn. Just as things were looking up, Mitchell lost her father, her biggest supporter and guiding force. The loss hit her harder than any tough game, any losing season. She questioned everything, not just about basketball, but about her future, her purpose, and whether she could find joy in the game she had played her whole life. The grief was overwhelming, a weight heavier than anything she had ever carried. For the first time, stepping onto the court didn't feel the same. Every shot, every dribble, every play felt different without him cheering from the stands or giving her advice after a game. But in times of tragedy, true strength is revealed. And Kelsey Mitchell proved just how resilient she was. She wasn't alone in her pain. Her teammates, including Clark, rallied around her, lifting her up when she felt like she had nothing left to give. The Fever organization gave her space to grieve, but also reminded her that she had a second family within the team. Through all of this, Mitchell turned to therapy, seeking guidance on how to navigate a world without her father. She dove into her faith, looking for peace and clarity, and leaned on the people who had always supported her. Slowly but surely, she found her way back. Instead of breaking her, the tragedy became her fuel. Every game became an opportunity to honor her father's memory. She played with even more passion, more focus, and more determination than ever before. It wasn't just about scoring points or winning games. It was about proving to herself, her father, and the world that she was built for this. The tears she shed in private became the fire that burned on the court. By the end of the season, not only had she made another All-Star appearance, but she had also helped lead the Fever to their first playoff berth since 2016. For the first time in years, Mitchell wasn't just playing basketball, she was thriving in it. All those years of hard work, all the struggles, all the losses had led to this moment. This wasn't just a comeback story, it was a testament to Mitchell's resilience, her ability to rise above personal and professional struggles and emerge stronger. She had faced some of the toughest moments of her life, and yet she came out on the other side with even more grit, more drive, and a renewed love for the game. But after such an emotional season, what would come next? Would she use this momentum to elevate herself even further? Would the Fever build on their success and take things to the next level? Let's dive into what happened next. Why she stayed in Indiana after such an emotional season? What did Mitchell do next? Many wondered if she would explore free agency. She had offers from other teams that might have given her a better shot at a championship. She could have chased rings elsewhere, looked for a bigger market, or even found a new role in a different system. But instead, she made a bold decision. She chose Indiana. She signed a one-year Supermax deal worth $250,000 to stay with the Fever. Why? Because for the first time in her career, she saw a future with this team that made all the struggles worth it.
I think it was unfortunate, and I just think the hand I was dealt was like, I take what's, I trusted in the organization in different ways from like the management.
She didn't just stay because it was the easy option. She stayed because she believed in the vision. The Fever were no longer a team struggling to find their identity. With Caitlin Clark by her side and a new wave of momentum surrounding the franchise, she felt something she hadn't in years. Hope. Hope that this could finally be the start of something great. Hope that all the blood, sweat, and tears she had poured into the franchise weren't in vain. Hope that the best was yet to come. Indiana has been my second home since I went pro, Mitchell said. To see the fans open their arms to me, to play alongside amazing teammates like Caitlin Clark, this is where I belong. Those words weren't just for show. Mitchell had opportunities, but she turned them down because she wanted to be part of something special in Indiana.
I didn't know what All-Star was going to look like for me. I never really put it on, not necessarily it wasn't a goal. I just knew I needed to train and do what I need to do to keep my name.
The Fever's front office knew just how valuable Mitchell was, not just as a player, but as a leader, a veteran presence, and a cornerstone of the franchise. Kelsey has been a foundation of our franchise for many years, said team president Kelly Krauskopf. There was no way she was going anywhere. Mitchell's decision to stay wasn't just about loyalty, it was about unfinished business. She had spent years waiting for this moment, waiting for the Fever to become relevant again. Now, with a team that finally had the pieces to compete, she wasn't going to walk away. She was going to be part of the turnaround. But the journey wasn't over yet. With a renewed sense of purpose, a stronger roster, and a city rallying behind them, What would come next for the Fever? Could this finally be the year they made a deep playoff run? Let's look ahead to what's in store for Indiana as they prepare for their most anticipated season in years. With Mitchell and Clark leading the way, the Fever have transformed from a struggling franchise into a team with championship potential. The 2025 season isn't just another season. It's shaping up to be one of the most exciting in franchise history. The Fever are no longer just a rebuilding project. They're legitimate contenders. A team that has the talent, chemistry, and drive to make a deep playoff run. Mitchell's loyalty, perseverance, and talent have finally paid off. She's no longer just a great player on a bad team. She's a great player on a team that's ready to compete at the highest level. After years of frustration, she finally has the support she's been waiting for, and she's making every second count. The hunger, the fire, the determination, it's all there. And now, Indiana Fever basketball is must-watch entertainment. And as for the fans, Indiana is buzzing like never before. Fever games are selling out night after night, breaking attendance records and drawing national attention. People aren't just watching from home. They're flying in from all over the country to see this team in action. Caitlin Clark brought the spotlight, but Kelsey Mitchell is making sure it stays. The energy in the arena is electric, fans chanting, standing room only crowds, and a renewed passion for basketball in Indiana that hasn't been seen in years. The Fever aren't just playing for wins, they're playing to change the narrative. For too long, they were the underdog, the forgotten franchise. Now, they're a powerhouse in the making. The chemistry between Mitchell and Clark is undeniable. And with the support of a strong roster, the Fever are looking to shake up the WNBA like never before. Wow, what a journey, right? Kelsey Mitchell's loyalty, resilience, and straight-up determination have been nothing short of inspiring. From struggling seasons to finally seeing the Fever rise, she's proving that hard work really does pay off. And let's be real, this Indiana squad, they're about to shake up the WNBA in a big way. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think Kelsey and Caitlin can take the Fever all the way this season? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you made it this far, you're clearly loving the content, so don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an update on the WNBA's biggest stories. More breakdowns, more exclusive takes, and more behind-the-scenes action coming your way soon. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.